I've wanted to do this vlog for ages because it has affected my confidence in me in general for a hell of a long time, and I know if a lot of people have to deal with this, it's not an uncommon thing, so I thought it'd be good to talk about it a bit and how it really does affect how you live day to day, even though to many people it might not seem like a big deal. And that is acne. Now, I'm going to also be talking about allergies a bit as well, because my acne is not just down to, sorry, I'm going to take my shoes off, not just down to kind of hormones and overproduction of sebum and all that sort of stuff. Mine is also due to allergies. So I'll go back a few years. When I was a teenager, I had spots. They weren't the worst in the year, but they were still noticeable and people did notice them. And I come from a family where, you know, they wanted to keep the children young. I wasn't allowed to get my hair dyed when I was still young. I wasn't allowed to wear fake tan and makeup and that sort of thing. I was very much kept a child for as long as possible. So when I started getting these spots, I didn't have the concealer that all my friends had to cover them up, so I'd sneak into my mum's bathroom, open up a cabinet and steal some of her foundation, which didn't match my skin at all. So I'd be going to school with, instead of red spots, I'd be going up with like white patches, like I was some sort of, I don't know, animal that has spots or whatever. A giraffe would be a good one. And so it actually drew a lot of attention to it. Also wasn't a good foundation to use because it was oily, so I'd just end up with all those, you know, those tide marks you get everywhere, like in those creases there, and it'd just be sliding around my face because my skin was so oily. And so I was very self-conscious about my skin, and I remember there was one particular moment that really got to me and I still remember and think about to this day, and that just proves how what people say to you about your insecurities make an impression. And I fancied this guy in school. He was in the band, he was the guitarist, he was really cool. I wasn't a geek per se, but I was kind of just middle of the road, and he was definitely out of my league. And I fancied him, and all my mates were trying to be helpful and like, oh, he should go out with her, you should go out with her, Rob. I've said his name. You should go out with her. And then on a social media site, back then, it was quite a long time ago, so it was just a basic website about the band, and there was a comment section. One of my friends, thinking she was helpful, wrote, I reckon Rob, oh God, stop saying that, I reckon blah 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 should go out with Sophie, she's great, blah blah blah. And one of his mates or someone else online wrote, no he shouldn't, why would he want to go out with that spotty piece of, or something like that. And I was just absolutely mortified when I saw that, absolutely devastated. Because as a teenager you're already a bit hormonal, all over the place, very sensitive, and that, ooh, it was just awful. So yeah, think when you say things to people about their appearance, please think of the damage you could be doing, because that is decades ago now and I still think about it. I've always, apart from one dodgy Meg Ryan attempt at a bob, I've always had long hair, and that's not because I love long hair. The reality is because I use it as a veil. On the days where my skin is really spotty, I do this. Or even this. And it's a comfort thing, almost like a comfort blanket. If I'm feeling insecure about my skin, I'll put my head down and just let my hair flop over it. And if it's a windy day and I've got my spots broken out there and there, I get a hat and clamp it on so these bits can't fly away, and they're protecting my cheeks from people's eyes for the whole day. So if you see me wearing a beanie, it's not always a fashion decision, it's about my skin and my face. And people might say to you, oh, it's not that bad, or look, you could be like that. You don't hear it. To you, it's a massive issue, it's embarrassing, and you just want to stay inside. And that's another thing. When I have a terrible breakout, I just want to stay inside. I even shut my curtains so my room is dark. It's that bad. because I don't even want to look at myself in the reflection. That's how bad it is. Another part of this is I often feel guilty about how embarrassed or how shameful I feel about my skin on a bad day, because I think to myself, I could have really bad scars, I could be disfigured, I could be have some really bad illness, and here's me complaining about a few red spots on my face. But that's something you can't rationalise with yourself on those days. When you're feeling really low and self-conscious, it is the worst thing ever. So as well as feeling bad about yourself, you also feel that guilt for feeling bad, because you know you shouldn't, because relatively, in the scheme of the world, you're doing all right. You don't have much to complain about. And I know friends and family always say to you, look, it could be a bit worse, it could be worse. Friends and family will say things like, it could be worse. You can move, you can see, you can hear, all this sort of stuff, but that's not helpful. I know they're trying to help and I get what they're trying to do, but to you it is a big deal. I think a big thing for people that suffer with acne, that is a big fear, is if you get a new boyfriend or a partner and you're staying over, you worry about them seeing you without makeup in the morning. So I know with past relationships, I used to go to sleep with my makeup on, but then I'd worry that wearing the makeup would make the skin worse, which it often did. So it'd be a vicious cycle. So then I decided, okay, I'll take my makeup off once they're asleep, and then put my alarm on, vibrate, and get up early and put some makeup on, and then sleep back into bed. Much like in Bridesmaids at the beginning, you know, when Kristen Wiig just sits there like that, looking all glamorous. So you'd do that, and then they'd be like, why you got your makeup on? And then you'd feel silly about that. So it's really a no-win situation with that, with trying to find a way to work around that. But the fear of them seeing you without makeup and seeing their reality is terrifying. You think they're going to think you're ugly, they're going to think you've lied to them because you've covered up the truth with so much makeup. You think they're going to leave you, all those sorts of things cross your mind. But the fact is, if they're the right one for you, they'll be with you for all of you, and not just, you know, the positive nice bits, and they'll be with you for more than your looks. So if they do run a mile, I guess they're not the right one, but that's hard to think about when you're stressing about your skin so much. I worry about going to gigs and clubs and stuff, because I imagine that the rays are going to show off all the bumps, which they do. So then at gigs and clubs I'm there with my head down, so you miss all the action, which is ridiculous. Festivals, I don't camp, because I know that if I don't wash my face properly with my spot cream, within a day it's going to be an absolute mess. I can't, wet wipes and skin wipes don't do the job. So the thought of camping, people seeing me get progressively spotty over the weekend, isn't something I can do. I used to even worry about girly sleepovers, and when they say, oh, let's do beauty things and let's put on face masks and stuff, I used to opt out, because I didn't want to have to take off my makeup and put a face mask on and then take it off and let them see what the reality was, because annoyingly a lot of my friends had that perfect skin. You can even see their pores. They got like one spot every few months, and there was me struggling to cover them up all the time. There's things people say as well that affect you, like one of my best friends has really good skin, as I said, and she got a spot one day that she was mortified about, just one spot, and I was like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just one spot, your skin's amazing. And she's like, yeah, but that's easy for you, because if you get a spot it just blends in, because it's, you know, because the rest of it's the same. And I know what she was trying to say, and it was accurate, but at the same time it was a bit harsh. I remember having a big fallout with my friend Caroline, who, she's known for being quite blunt. Like, she's the friend that will tell you if you're looking a bit rough. She'll say, I hate your shoes, or what are you wearing, that sort of friend. And usually, you know, you take it as almost funny, but one day when we were shopping in Guildford, she was like, oh, you're really spotty at the moment, Soph. And it was on a really insecure day when I was really aware of my skin being particularly angry, and I just couldn't take it, and I just walked off and went home in a bit of a huff. Totally embarrassing thing to do, shouldn't have done it, but some days you just can't take it. And it's amazing how a bad skin day can affect your whole day. I try and work whatever I'm doing because I don't like to let people down, but I remember that I did cancel an interview once just because I knew that if I did it, it wouldn't be a good interview. I would be wanting to hide my face. I wouldn't want to look him in the eye because I was just so embarrassed about my appearance. And doing what I do, doing stuff on camera, it's even more stressful when I have a bad skin day, because I know unless I do my makeup well, which I'm not very good at, it will be noticeable, and trolls can be cruel. Like I said, I found in recent years through I've been going to the doctors for 10 years about various problems with my stomach and allergies and that sort of thing, and they've recently found that I have an intolerance for certain things and allergies, and that they kind of make my skin flare up. Here's some pictures so you can see what happens when I have a flare up. The problem is, some of the problems I have, the pills that you're meant to take to fix you of that problem, I'm actually allergic to, so I have to make a decision of whether I deal with the illness or whether I have the medicine and cure that, but then have the awful reaction on my face and my skin. So that's an annoying thing. Another skin story for you while we're talking skin. When I was at school, I had some growths come up on my face. They're kind of like, they look like spots, but they were solid. There was nothing inside them, and you could pick them, but they just grow back, and they started growing back even more, almost like warts, I guess. And I went to the hospital. They didn't know what they were, and it was very stressful because they just kept growing back and getting more and more of them, and no one knew what to do about it. And I just thought, eventually I'm going to be covered. In the end, we tried all sorts of stuff. We tried toothpaste, we tried bananas, tried their own sort of topical solutions and things. In the end, we used Retin-A, which at the time wasn't this huge thing that's used in all the anti-aging creams that are available now. But we used pure Retin-A on them, and eventually they disappeared. But during that time, that was when I was particularly low, I remember, because I had the acne that everyone else had, but I also had these solid lumps. Oh, and I just thought, you know, I'm just going to end up one giant zit. Now, you can see my skin's not too bad today, but without makeup I've got scarring, I've got enlarged pores, and I still won't go out without foundation, but it is a lot better, and I can tell already that because my skin's a bit better, I'm feeling better about myself, so definitely does have an impact. Another thing, I've got a scar here because I got stung by a very nasty mosquito at a wedding a few years ago, and it really expanded, got quite nasty, and it affected a nerve in my cheek, and I ended up with Bell's palsy. And every few months, because it's affected it, it comes back. I'll show you a picture here, and it's very painful, very swollen, and just weeps, and the doctors don't know what to do about that either, but it's now left me with quite a nasty scar, so that's another thing. Another thing I want to tell you, if you've got bad skin or had bad skin, because I made this mistake. I used to, whenever it was a sunny day, I'd get myself in the garden in the sun and just like allow my face to burn, because I thought if the sun gets to my skin, it will dry out all the spots, it will smooth out the surface, and it'll look much better. And generally it did, but what I didn't realise that it would also come back to haunt me, because it would actually, after kind of improving, it would then come back worse. So don't do this, because you end up with worse spots. It's only a very temporary fix, plus you'll end up with skin damage that I have, and my skin is a lot more aged than it should be because of all those hours sitting in the sun trying to dry out my acne. So don't do that. So let me know if you relate to any of these things. Love to hear your story. And I've found some products that improve my skin now. So if you want me to do a video telling you about these products, happily do that. So let me know if it's of interest. And if you have any products that have helped you, let me know about them too. Thanks. Bye.